Welcome. We're going to take a look today at body paragraphs. We're going to look particularly at the kinds of body paragraphs that are used in essays. What we're going to look at specifically today are things like what is paragraphing, or what are the different types of paragraphs. We are going to look at introduction paragraphs and how those are different from body paragraphs, and we're going to look at body paragraphs pretty in depth at the different kinds of information that they will include. In terms of background information, you've written a lot of essays already, and you've read a significant amount being a student. So you're pretty familiar with paragraphs generally. We're just going to give you some more detailed information, hopefully that will help you out. So what are paragraphs? What are we talking about here? Paragraphs are the building blocks of writing, and we will see those used in essays, stories, reports, and all kinds of other different types of writing styles. When we talk about paragraphing, what are we talking about? Paragraphing is how a writer will structure, formulate, edit, and perfect paragraphs. So it's really the activity that the writer takes when they're creating their paragraphs. So prior to your body paragraphs, you're going to use an introduction paragraph. This is normal for all of your essays. What kinds of things are going to be included in an introduction paragraph? Those are going to be hook statements, thesis statements, you only do one of those, general support statements, you'll use 3 to 7 of those, and you'll end every paragraph off with a conclusion statement. That's for a normal and a strong introduction paragraph. Now the bulk of any essay is taken up with body paragraphs, and here's what goes into body paragraphs. You're always going to start off with a strong introduction or topic statement. This gives general information about what will be covered in that particular paragraph. Following that, you're going to have a combination of general support statements, which are very broad, and detail statements, which are very narrow. You may have anywhere in the range of 3 to 5 of either of those. And then we're going to wrap up every paragraph with a conclusion statement. You always want to do that. Now let's take a look at our introduction topic statements. These are fairly similar to a thesis statement in the way that they're constructed. They're a statement of fact, so you don't want to have opinion there, you just want it to be fact. And their purpose is to support the thesis statement. So they have a similar purpose throughout all of your paragraphs. Following that introduction statement, you're going to have your general broad support statements. Again, you're going to use 3 to 5 of these per paragraph. These are broad general statements. They're going to summarize and synthesize many different details, all of which supports the thesis statement. So again, their purpose is to support that thesis, but they're going to do it with broad information. Following that, you're going to have your detail statements. Now, in a paragraph, you may go back and forth between broad general support statements and detail statements. That's fine and completely normal. What kinds of things would be included in detail statements? There we're going to be looking at some of our examples we have listed out here, evidence, examples, statistics, quotations, and so forth. This is where you get into the real details, the real nitty-gritty. And every paragraph finishes off with a conclusion statement. This wraps up the paragraph. Again, it's focused in on that thesis statement, and it's going to transition into the next paragraph. You can do that with transition words and also with transitioning ideas. What should strong body paragraphs always include? You need to have a compelling introduction statement. You want to start off that way every time. Then you're going to go into your general support statements and your detail statements. You're going to have 3 to 5 of each of those. Lots of information included there. And you will wrap up every body paragraph with a summarizing conclusive statement. Don't forget that's also going to transition you into your next paragraph. Let's take a look at an example here. Notice that I've color-coded it for you. Our first color there is the red. That's your introduction sentence. And then we have that dark blue. Those are your broad general support statements. Then we have the yellow. Those are your detail statements. And then finally down here at the end we have the green. The green is used for your conclusion statements. So our example reads, Although some readers view the supernatural as topics fit only for pulp fiction, vampires have held a place in literature for centuries. European mythology includes references to vampire-like creatures. In fact, excavated grave sites in Italy reveal how locals buried vampires, which included forcing a brick into the corpse's mouth. 2. Many canon literature pieces include vampires. Bram Stoker's Dracula is among this elite group. In modern times, vampires have been featured as main characters in England, New Orleans, Paris, and other famous locales. Interview with the Vampire is one of the most compelling novels to personify vampires as creatures with conscience. Modern readers tend to be purveyors of action and fantasy more than their forebears. So focusing the lens of fiction onto vampires just makes good sense. We can see here in this paragraph that we've included a lot of different information. We've started off with an introduction, we've finished up with a summarizing conclusion, and in the middle there we have lots and lots of details that would support a thesis statement. Where are strong body paragraphs used? Really, they're used in any kind of writing where you're going to have a body paragraph. So that's going to be any kind of article, letter, news, advertisements, novels, reports, all kinds of different areas. Questions that students sometimes have: are body paragraphs different in research papers? Not really. The only big difference in a research paper from an essay is that you have to cite your sources. That means that you show where you got your information. And another question, are stories set up the same way? Absolutely not. There are very few similarities between an essay and a story. So what you're learning here is all about essays, not stories. What are students expected to do at this point? You should be able to use organization in your writing. That means using your different kinds of correct sentences in your body paragraphs. You should be able to write strong body paragraphs and write with depth, breadth, and detail. The way that you do that is by including really strong information in those general support statements and your detail statements. At this point, what you should be able to know and be able to do is to understand paragraphing generally, to know how to support a thesis statement in your body paragraphs, and be able to construct strong body paragraphs. This is an expectation for all middle school and high school students. Your writing will continue to improve as you practice. I hope this information has been useful to you. Good luck.